All right, let's move on. We've got a fair few other issues to talk about. Our next question comes from Seb Henbest.
My question is for Senator Bernardi. Senator Bernardi, do you still reject the science of climate change and maintain that this is the result of scientific fraud and a worldwide conspiracy of scientists? And do you think this view is commonly held by your colleagues in the Liberal Party?
I'm only guessing on which side of the debate you have an opinion. Look, I entirely accept climate change. The climate has been changing for eons, and there's no doubt about that. But I have never bought the alarmist hysteria attached to carbon dioxide as driving climate change. And there's, no consensus of scientists, I'm afraid. There are literally tens of thousands of people, scientists who have a different view on this. Now, over the course of time, a lot of the alarmist predictions and forecasts have been proved wrong. When will they finally admit that maybe it's not carbon dioxide? I absolutely support rational, sensible, environmental policies that are going to deliver real benefits. And no one in this room can tell me that the carbon tax, for example, is going to change the temperature of the globe one jot or one tittle. And that's why it's a ridiculous policy to pursue. Our policy, on the other hand, has actually real environmental benefits attached to it. We're going to clean up the waterways, we're going to have more trees, we're going to encourage energy efficiency. Those sorts of things are
And you're
benefits.
doing that in spite of the fact you don't believe that climate change is actually happening, caused by human...
See, one of the things, Tony, is that I'm the great healer in the Liberal Party. That I've brought Greg Hunt and Malcolm Turnbull and Cory Bernardi together to agree on a course of action that is going to have no regrets for us. It's going to mitigate carbon dioxide, which I think is a good thing. But whether that's going to change the climate or not, it doesn't matter. There's going to be resounding positive benefits.
I think you must have missed the fact that Malcolm Turnbull said this was a shockingly expensive policy that would get more expensive each time you ratcheted up the percentage that you tried to reduce emissions by.
I'm sure if you asked Malcolm Turnbull whether he endorses our climate change policy, he would say yes, absolutely.
I'm going to just a broader question. Bill McKibben, can I just interrupt there? And I'll pick up the point that he just made. I mean, you say that no one says it except the fossil fuel industry, but of course there was that CFC study done and a peer-reviewed study done by Canadian scientists that was released in the past couple of days, saying that it is CFCs causing it, not CO2. I mean, sometimes scientists muddy the waters as well, isn't that true?
Well, this is a huge field of study, and there are always people...
Question is from Elaine Jontek.
Last week on Q&A, philanthropist Bill Gates made a clear distinction in his criteria for his investments and his charities. He does not support tobacco industries, but he's happy to invest in resources, including fossil fuel energy companies. What does the panel think of this view?
It's nice that that Mr. Palmer and Ms. Reinhardt and whatever can make huge sums of money doing this, but at a certain point, if we're going to deal with climate change, we have to keep most of the coal and oil and gas that we know about underground. And the good news is we now know what comes next. We look around and see that already in this country, wind power is economically on par. We see the real beginnings of a solar revolution.
When Bill flies here in his wind-powered jet, I'll be delighted to endorse his views. The lady asked the point about Bill Gates. Bill Gates, it's his money, he can invest it as he sees fit. And I think we are blessed with an abundance of resources in this country that create hundreds of thousands of jobs. They generate billions of dollars worth of wealth that spreads right through the country, provides us with the cheapest electricity available, and yet somehow you want us to turn our back on it. I think to do that would be absolute madness, and it would be a sheer folly for anyone in this country to pursue.